Hello everyone, today is 19th of August, now it's 20 past 1, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. It is a little bit slow day news-wise, but still there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. And well, number one news is of course from New York, which is under full Russian control, and of course this is not something unknown for our community, because I reported about it last couple of days that Russian progress was very significant in New York direction. Yesterday, I already reported that Russian troops are controlling this city, and Kiev regime's forces may be trapped somewhere in the vicinity of New York, but city is under full Russian control in general. And today, many military channels, big channels, including Military Summary, confirmed this information that New York, battle for New York, effectively has ended with Russian victory, obviously. So yes, New York is under Russian control, Russian troops advancing towards Toretsk, and battles have started for Nilepovka settlement, which is on the northern side of New York. And well, we're gonna observe now beginning of the partial encirclement of the Toretsk itself, and I guess before end of this week, probably we will see significant progress of the Russian armed forces, not just in direction of Toretsk, but also Krimskaya, also Nilepovka itself, and of course Shcherbinovka. So all these settlements I expect to become under full Russian control, or at least under partial Russian control before end of this week. Significant progress, undoubtedly. And Russian troops continue their offensive, local-scale offensive operations in Pokrovsk direction also. Initiative is in Russian hands, and no matter how many reserves Kiev regime going to deploy in this direction, seems like they are unable to stabilize front line, and their initiative is in completely in Russian hands. Military experts, some of them are suggesting that probably Russian troops will now focus on this artillery pocket to neutralize Kiev regime's forces in this area, and it does make sense, definitely, if Russian troops will now try to liberate all these settlements between Grigorievka and Maximilianovka, and advancing Russian troops in Toretsk sector of the front line. And after that, we may see further Russian progress towards Pokrovsk city itself, although Russian troops may conduct these operations simultaneously. This is also a possibility. And more and more news is coming in about Russian successful offensive operations, local-scale offensive operations, in direction of Vadiane. And all the channels basically at this point are confirming what our community already knows, that Russian forces establish physical control over this 005 to 532 highway between Ugledar and Konstantinovka. And Russian troops not just establish physical control, but further advancing in direction of Vodiane. I guess before end of this week, probably we will see battles for Vodiane settlement itself. And once Russian troops will establish control over the Vodiane, I mean, just take a look at the map, by the way, it will become obvious that both these settlements, Konstantinovka and Ugledar, will be under at least partial encirclement. And the garrisons of Kiev regime in these settlements gonna start experiencing significant difficulties in terms of logistics. So that's been said. Also a few words about Kursk direction. If you take a look at the map, you will notice no significant changes. Basically, invading force of Kiev regime definitely run out of steam at this point. Several brigades already been decimated, and there are more and more troops of Kiev regime in this Kursk salient are surrendering to Russian side, and they're saving their lives because I guess they realize for now that all this crazy idea to invade Russian territory in Kursk direction was a suicidal operation, media operation, and it's basically failed. It will take a couple of weeks before Russian troops will push back all the invading forces out of Kursk region. But meanwhile, some mobile groups of Kiev regime, mobile armored groups, are trying to move around and see if they can advance in any direction, any further. And quite often these armored columns are ambushed by Russian forces and destroyed. There on my Telegram, you can see plenty of videos of destruction of these armored groups that Kiev regime sent into this salient. Overall, operational control on situation is in Russian hands, and well, truly best decision Kiev regime troops can make in Kursk salient and any other direction really is to lay down arms and surrender to Russian forces if they want to save the lives. So overall, of course, initiative is in Russian hands, and no matter how hard the Kiev regime gonna dream about any success on any direction, it's not happening. And Kursk invasion is definitely beginning of the end of Kiev regime's armed forces as a more or less capable entity, Kiev regime itself, and Ukraine as we knew it as a state. It's end for all of them. That's been said, let's continue with some other news, and I will start with the statements of Alexander Lukashenko, president of Belarus, who said that Ukraine is pushing Russia to use nuclear weapons. Ukraine's incursion into internationally recognized Russian territory looks like an attempt to compel Moscow to use nuclear weapons, which would irrevocably damage its image globally, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has said. And I have to disagree with Lukashenko. If Russian side will use nuclear weapons, it will not damage Russian image at all, in my personal opinion, because Kiev regime and the NATO are posing nuclear threat to Russia, and the world knows this. World community, by the way. This world, I mean, for whatever reason, many politicians are still trapped in this mistaken idea that opinion of Western ruling class matters, or opinion of Western media or Western political elites, when in reality, who are they, for God's sake? Why would anybody in this world care about anything that will be said by any leader in the Western world? Maybe with the exception of few that prove that they are decent human beings, or at least are trying to be one, right? In this particular case, I am talking about leadership of Slovakia, current leadership of Slovakia and Hungary, first of all, obviously. So I have to disagree with Lukashenko in terms that if Russia will deploy some extreme force, it will damage Russian image. It will not damage Russian image, absolutely. And it will, exactly opposite will happen. And everybody will realize, finally, that you don't mess with Russia. And world, 80% of humanity stands with Russia, will continue to stand with Russia. 100%. And all the red lines already being crossed by NATO, by collective West, Western ruling class, and their proxy Kiev regime. Right? And when it comes to first part of the statement of Lukashenko that Ukraine is pushing Russia to use nuclear weapons, I have to disagree once again with Lukashenko, because it's not Ukraine, it's not the Kiev regime, it's NATO. It's a Western ruling class. We should never, in my personal opinion, we should never forget that Zelensky and his criminal associates, they are puppets in hands of Western ruling class. And all the actions of Kiev regime, including threats towards Russian nuclear power stations, invasion in the Kursk region, and absolutely everything that was done by Kiev regime was dictated from the West. So therefore, it's not Ukraine that pushing Russia to use nuclear weapons. It's a West. It's a collective West that doing this. And yet again, I said so for so long now and so many times that at some point, due to this constant escalation from the collective West, Moscow or Russian leadership may find itself in a situation when they will see no other option or way out but to deploy some extreme force, which is nuclear weapons basically. And it might happen, by the way. I'm not saying that it will definitely happen, but it might happen because, yet again, according to, as far as I understand, Russian nuclear doctrine or all the red lines have been crossed by Russian enemies. And Russian leadership has every legal right to use whatever force is necessary to protect Russia's integrity, territorial integrity, security of the Russia's strategical infrastructure, and first of all, safety and security of Russian citizens. It is what it is. Let's continue, and well, we have the Russian Defense Ministry's update on situation in the Kursk region. This information is from yesterday. In a couple of hours' time, Russian Defense Ministry probably will share with the public new data for the last 24 hours, but for 18th of August, Russian Defense Ministry stated that during the previous 24 hours, so from 17 to 18, Kyiv regime lost more than 300 military personnel and 27 units of armored vehicles in the Kursk salient, in a territory that is temporarily controlled by invading Ukrainian and NATO forces, and also, of course, mercenaries, foreign mercenaries that are fighting alongside the Kyiv regime. RIA Novosti is also reporting that residents of 3 cities in the DPR that are still controlled by Kyiv regime have been ordered to evacuate. These cities are Pokrovsk, and our community already knows about it because I reported earlier that evacuation was declared by Kyiv regime in Pokrovsk. Also, Dimitrov or Mirgorod is evacuated, and Selidovo, by the way, settlement. So Kyiv regime understands, it seems like, at least Kyiv regime understands something, and they see unstoppable progress of the Russian armed forces in Pokrovsk direction, and they are evacuating residents from number of settlements there, including relatively large cities like Pokrovsk itself, which has, of course, strategical meaning as a logistical hub and also as a center of coal production that Kyiv regime still controls. And as I said, by the way, once Russian troops will establish full control over the Pokrovsk and surrounding area, that will be a huge blow for Kyiv regime, not just in terms of military means, because of the because Pokrovsk is a logistical hub, but also it will have huge implications in economical terms, because Kyiv regime, from net exporter of the coal, will turn into importer of the coal. TASS news agency is also reporting that Russian armed forces with long-range precise strike destroyed the Kyiv regime's S-300P air defense system. And there is a video, by the way, of that destruction. As you can see, this is a S-300 system. And then strike from Russian side, and nothing is left from that air defense system. For last several days, Russian military intelligence, with the active cooperation with the missile forces, take out quite a number of air defense systems of the Kyiv regime, including not just S-300 but Patriot and Iris-T air defense systems, and there are a significant number of HIMARS multi-launch rocket systems, and all of it is documented, by the way, and on my Telegram channel you can see videos of that. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian armed forces conducted strike on a point of deployment of foreign mercenaries in the Kyiv region, And according to Russian underground, coordinator of the Russian underground in Nikolaev region, Sergei Lebedev, and he's coordinating with the pro-Russian partisans all along the Kiev-controlled territory. This strike was precise, and significant number of foreign mercenaries were neutralized. And when we say foreign mercenaries, most likely we are talking about NATO military personnel, these so-called instructors. Most likely it is their case. Maybe during the day we will learn some more information about it, and of course I will share additional news on my Telegram. Also, we have this report from Vzгляд News paper that mayor of Lvov had to address locals in Lvov and the region, and somehow try to explain huge number of casualties among Kiev regime's personnel that was taken to army or mobilized from Lvov region. Basically, this individual, Andrei Sadavoy, confirms indirectly at least that Kiev regime's brigades had suffered heavy losses in the Kursk region, which is true, by the way. And I remind you that majority of those brigades that Kiev regime deployed to invade Kursk region, personnel of those brigades mainly are from western regions of Ukraine. And western Ukraine is, of course, one may argue, is a birthplace of the Ukrainian nationalism and Ukrainian fascism, although I will argue that true birthplace of Ukrainian nationalism and the fascism is Germany and the United Kingdom, because leadership of Germany during Bismarck's reign, even, by the way, and also leadership of UK a couple of centuries ago, by the way, were working on idea how to weaken Russia, and one of the ways that they come up with was to create this divider inside the Russia by pushing this narrative that Ukrainians somehow are now different ethnic group, not Russians, but something completely different. And they push this narrative, and after decades and decades and decades and decades of their active work in this direction, well, they manage basically to brainwash so many people in Ukraine, especially in modern Ukraine, in western parts especially of the modern Ukraine, that they truly believe that they are different ethnic group. Take a look at the name of the mayor of Lvov, by the way. This Ukrainian Nazi has a Russian name and a Russian surname. And this dirty bitch thinks that he is not Russian, he is Ukrainian. Holy moly, man, how crazy is that? But anyways, it is good that Ukrainian Nazis being obliterated on the battlefield. I applaud that 100% always, and I applaud extermination of Nazis all around the world, by the way, because I think those despicable creatures should be exterminated. It is what it is, man. I have no mercy for those criminals that have no respect for other people. That's what Nazis do, man. They think they are something special and the rest of the people are not even humans. That's their fucking, sorry for my French, but that's their ideology, man. The sick individuals. RT is reporting that Germany could limit military aid to Ukraine, according to Bild. Germany's ability to maintain continuous supply of weapons to Ukraine is in jeopardy due to budget constraints, according to communications between their finance ministry and the Bundeswehr, cited by Bild newspaper on Sunday. Finance Minister Christian Lindner reached out to Defense Minister Boris Pistorius and Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock to stress that Germany's budget cannot accommodate further financing for Kiev, and that no new unapproved military aid packages can be delivered. Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung reported earlier this week. So interesting. Germany's economy is in down spiral, isn't it? And Germany's economy is in very, very difficult place right now. And we all know why, isn't it? First of all, because of the sanction war against Russia, because of destruction of Nord Stream pipelines, and because of this this Russophobic ideology that Western ruling class is pushing by destroying economical cooperation between EU member states and Russia, including Germany. And there is no way out. There is no way out for German economy. This downfall will continue and continue and continue until at one point German society will say, you know what, enough is enough. We want our country to be governed by our representatives, not by Washington and their puppets. And when German society will stand up to defend their own country and their own national interests, well, then we might see some changes, obviously. But before that, Germany is finished. And when it comes to this particular information that Germany no longer is able to finance Kyiv regime, well, it's not up to Germany's finance minister, isn't it? Or defense minister, or a foreign minister, or even chancellor, because all of them are CIA assets, right? It's up to Washington. And only when Washington will say to Germany's leadership that you no longer finance Kyiv regime, only then flow of money and weapons from Germany will stop to Ukraine. Only then. Until Washington is not ordering such a move, Germany will continue to finance this proxy war against Russia, and these statements will change nothing. The statements of so-called high-ranking officials of Germany. It is what it is, man. This is an occupied country, proxy state of US, and has no say. Everything depends on Washington, and partially on London also, obviously. Vzglyad newspaper is also reporting that, well, experts of IAEA officially dismissed claims of the Kyiv regime and the Western terrorist regimes and the propaganda that Russian side burned some tires in a cooling tower of the Zaporozhye nuclear power station. As I reported earlier, twice IAEA experts or experts of International Atomic Energy Agency were allowed to visit that place, tower, and they made official statements, and they basically dismiss all these crazy statements, crazy propaganda of the Kyiv regime and the Western masters, that it was tires that were burning in tower, which was obvious, by the way. I mean, none of us in our community is surprised by this news, obviously, but unfortunately, significant number of people, societies, majority probably, of the Western societies truly believing this nonsense. I mean, that's how crazy this influence, how strong this influence of propaganda is in the West, right? And I see even in the comment sections under my videos, by the way, when I was reporting about that strike of Kyiv regime on ZMPP, I noticed several comments when people probably truly believed that it was tires that were burning there, and they were openly sharing this opinion. And I did not went in discussions with those people. Probably they were not members of our community. They just see video randomly and commented, because there's no way members of our community can be that misinformed to believe that it was tires that were burning in a cooling tower, man. Our community is one of the most informed communities, I believe, up there. TASS news agency is reporting that official representative of Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, stated that Moscow has nothing to talk about with the Kyiv regime, especially after nuclear threats and after invasion of the Kursk region. And I completely understand this statement. If you remember, I said from very first day of this invasion into Kursk region that this is it. There will be no more talks between Moscow and Kiev, or Moscow and Western ruling class, on ending hostilities. Only unconditional surrender will be acceptable for Russia. Only unconditional surrender of the Kyiv regime. Capitulation, basically. And it will happen. Just give it time. I don't know how long it will take, 3 months, 5 months, 10 months, but Kyiv regime and the Western ruling class will capitulate. Sure, 100%. And by the way, excuse me, Elon Musk came under attack of all sorts of Russophobes. And you know why? Because of the trolling of the head of Chechen Autonomous Republic of the Russian Federation, Ramzan Kadyrov. Yesterday on my Telegram I shared this video, and Kadyrov is test driving basically Cybertruck that is armed with a machine gun, heavy machine gun, and he trolled basically Elon Musk that this Cybertruck was a gift from Tesla or something like that, and it was a joke, by the way, it was a humor, but seems like Russophobes took it absolutely seriously, because Russophobes are stupid, by the way. Russophobes are imbeciles, I mean complete imbeciles. And some of those idiots start attacking Elon Musk on this topic, that how dare you send this Cybertruck to Russia, garage, to Russian armed forces and that kind of stuff. And let me show you a response, by the way. This is, for example, one of the comments on Twitter that attacked Elon Musk. I have no idea, said Abramson, who is this dirty individual, dirty prostitute, basically. But he accused Elon Musk for supplying Russia with Cybertrucks, and Elon Musk seems like takes no prisoners. And his response is, I mean, you can read it, by the way, because if I say certain word from Elon Musk's response, this channel or this video may be deleted. So Elon Musk is commenting, are you seriously so, that you think I donated the Cybertruck to a Russian general? That's amazing. So yes, they are that stupid, man. Those Russophobes, by the way, are exactly that stupid. It is what it is. Let's continue, dear friends. Let's continue. And the Kommersant newspaper is reporting that, and I spoke about several of these news, by the way, during yesterday's community chat live stream. Unfortunately, due to some technical issues, stream was not on. Stream experienced some difficulties. But nowadays I have no option but to stream through VPN, and that creates these issues during the stream, freezing and buffering and all that kind of stuff. But we had a great conversation anyways, and I'm grateful to all the members of our community who joined the stream and watched the stream later on. It's always good chat, by the way. These community chats on Sundays are one of the favorite programs that I make, because this opportunity to exchange opinions in real time. And well, during that conversation I shared several of these videos, including this one, several of these news, including this one, that Azerbaijan wants to join BRICS. This was stated by ambassador of Azerbaijan in Russian Federation, and it's a good news. It's a good news, obviously. Once again confirms this information that BRICS is gaining more and more weight in this world and more popularity, which is definitely good, because I see BRICS as one of the foundational stones for emerging multipolar world. And it's all good, but yet again, whenever I see information that this country or that country wants to join BRICS, I always remember a statement of Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who said some couple of months ago that BRICS will probably pause for a bit process of expansion, because there are certain topics that needs to be worked out inside the BRICS right now, and then BRICS will continue to accept new members. And I think this is the right approach. Definitely certain things, certain topics needs to be worked out. First of all, creation of the alternative financial and the banking system, alternative to the Western one, which is extremely weaponized by Western ruling class. And there are many other topics also that need some attention. And once all these issues are resolved, of course, BRICS probably will open its doors again, and more countries will join. As I said, BRICS is a foundational stone of emerging multipolar world, so it's all good. And the Russian president is in Azerbaijan right now, by the way. He went to Azerbaijan yesterday, and his visit continues for 2 days, so yesterday, today. He had a meeting with the president of Azerbaijan, and they discussed bilateral relationships between the countries. Of course, Russia will try whatever it can to help Azerbaijan and Armenia to de-escalate the situation between each other. And of course, we all know that relationships between Azerbaijan and Armenia are very difficult since the collapse of Soviet Union, even before collapse of Soviet Union, one may say. So yes, Russia will try to play some positive role in this regard, and Azerbaijan itself is a great partner for Russian Federation. So it is absolutely good that relationships between Moscow and Baku is improving. Unfortunately, meanwhile, relationships between Moscow and Armenia, or Moscow and Yerevan, is declining. But this is not due to Russia; it's due to Pashinyan, Prime Minister of Armenia, and his government, that is basically run by US. They are operating under US orders, and they're destroying basically Armenia and ignoring best interests of Armenian society. But yet again, it's up to Armenians, by the way. If they are happy with their current situation, then I mean, it's their business, right? It's their country, so they should make all the decisions that are necessary. So, although it is unfortunate that relationships between Moscow and Yerevan is on decline, unfortunately, since Pashinyan became prime minister there. And dear friends, before I end this update, let me go through some news that I posted on my Telegram channel. And if you are not subscribed, please consider to subscribe. I'm trying to keep my Telegram channel updated with many news about many topics. For example, this information here, that Russian spacecraft docks with the International Space Station's Zvezda module. This is a Progress MS-28 that will provide over 2 tons of cargo to the International Space Station. And, well, interesting, isn't it? I mean, amazing views, by the way, amazing views. Also, I did not even knew, I only learned this morning that there was a supermoon yesterday over the Moscow. Interesting. Interesting. So some nice pictures were made by residents of Moscow yesterday. Also, by the way, there is a flooding in Connecticut, and this flooding is in 200 years, worst flooding in last 200 years that this area of US experienced. I mean, some pictures here. Let's hope people will life of people will not be lost due to this flooding. Rest of it can be repaired, by the way. Main thing is always safety of the humans. And this is video, by the way, that Russian president laid this is a grave of Heydar Aliyev, who also was a president of Azerbaijan, father of the current Azerbaijani president Ilham Aliyev. Also another video, by the way, of captured POWs, Ukrainian POWs in the Kursk region. Every day, more and more, as I said, by the way, more and more troops of the invading force in the Kursk region are surrendering. This is, you already see, I already show you a video of destruction of S-300 of the Kiev regime. Huge explosion, by the way. I guess it was Iskander, a missile of Russian Federation that hit this S-300. Also, I shared quite a number of videos of destruction of military equipment of the Kiev regime in the Kursk region and other sectors of the front line also. I mean, you can check those videos, by the way. And, well, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated that Nord Stream sabotage could not have happened without US assistance, which is absolutely correct. The Russian Foreign Minister accused the United States of assisting Ukraine in the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage, calling recent media reports about their attack distraction from their true perpetrators. Lavrov believes that details emerging in foreign media are deliberate attempt to deflect blame from the real perpetrators. Yes, it is true, by the way. In my personal opinion, what happened is while CIA and Pentagon was planning this attack, they probably tricked Kiev regime to also create some group that will work on this idea to blow up pipelines, and Kiev regime did it. Saturn group was chosen, and of course CIA knew about every single step of that group, and this group was set up from the very beginning, so that at some point CIA and the Pentagon will will blame this group for attack on Nord Stream pipelines, and will try to distance themselves from this attack, and that's exactly what is happening. This reports now in media that it was a Ukrainian operation, Kiev regime's operation to conduct strikes and so on. At some point, Zelensky approved, then he disapproved after receiving orders from Washington, but Zaluzhny go ahead with this attack anyways. All that is nonsense, by the way. Of course, Kiev regime was involved there in this operation, but they did not even realize that they were set up. It was a setup of CIA. And this Ukrainian group that was working on this operation was basically sacrificed from very first day. Operation itself, attack was conducted by US and Norway's security services and their militaries. But this Ukrainian group, because it was working on this idea also, they left some trace, obviously, and the CIA knew about it, and they are now sacrificing those, as if this group was attacker, while it was set up from the beginning. I hope I explain what I mean. And well, this is it, dear friends. I guess, yes, relatively short update. As I said, it's a slow day news-wise today. Well, hopefully you will find this update interesting and useful, informative, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary just about anything, any topic will do. This is the only way you can try at least to influence algorithm, and for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel in real life with your friends or on internet platforms that you are actively using. And finally, if you like my work, if you like this channel, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.